Picture this. A street worker meets a wealthy businessman who's lost in the wrong part of town. What starts as a simple transaction for directions becomes a week-long arrangement that changes both their lives forever. She teaches him how to feel, and he shows her a world she never thought possible. But when the week ends, they must decide if love can bridge the gap between two completely different worlds. This is Pretty Woman, and it's about to get beautiful. The story begins when Vivian is working on the street with her best friend, Kit. Right there on the once dilapidated street, she sees a luxury car worth millions parked in front of her eyes. Kit encourages her to seize the opportunity and complete her very first deal in her career. After hearing Kit's advice, Vivian takes a deep breath and walks straight toward the luxury car. She offers directions to Beverly Hills for $5. The man finds it rare that even asking for directions requires payment. Though he doesn't want to engage, considering he's unfamiliar with this place, he finally chooses to compromise. For Edward, who doesn't care about money, having someone to guide him is certainly more convenient.
You'll give me directions?
Sure. For $5.
Watching Edward's awkward driving skills, especially seeing him forget to turn on the headlights when starting the car, makes Vivian suspect this luxury car must be rented. Vivian voices her suspicion, and the man's silence only reinforces her belief that she's right. At that moment, Vivian couldn't have imagined that Edward simply doesn't want to waste words arguing. This car, which Vivian sees as a luxury vehicle, is actually Edward driving his assistant's car to keep a low profile. As for his lack of driving skills, that's because he always has a chauffeur whenever he travels. After a short drive, Vivian, fed up with Edward's poor driving, takes over the wheel herself and lectures him that pretending to be rich is not the right thing to do. But Edward, instead of getting angry over the misunderstanding and criticism, actually finds it amusing. Soon they arrive at the destination, and Vivian, who doesn't get an invitation to go upstairs, stands by the roadside disappointedly waiting for a ride. Just as Edward is about to step into the hotel, he sees the scene, hesitates slightly, and then decides to help her. Wearing Edward's coat, they walk into the hotel together. Seeing the luxurious interior, Vivian can't help but think how much effort Edward has put into pretending to be rich. They check in at the front desk and are led to the most luxurious presidential suite on the hotel's top floor. Having lived at the bottom of society for years, Vivian has never seen such extravagance before. Compared to her shock and curiosity, Edward's calmness and composure makes her begin to doubt her own assumptions. Maybe he really is a wealthy man after all. After touring the spacious room, Vivian prepares to complete what would be the first business deal of her new profession. Seeing her eagerness, Edward smiles gently and tells her there's plenty of time tonight. So, at Edward's request, they sit on chairs and start chatting. Just as the atmosphere is getting right, someone knocks on the door. A waiter comes in carrying champagne. After gulping down the champagne, she reminds him she's on an hourly rate. Being her first day on the job and not knowing the going rates, Vivian hesitantly quotes a number when Edward asks for the entire night. Edward, without hesitation, agrees right away.
How much for the entire night?
Stay here. I couldn't afford it.
Try me.
$300.
Done.
Seeing how straightforward he is, Vivian starts feeling uneasy. But she quickly realizes her worries are completely unnecessary. Edward doesn't force Vivian to do anything. On the contrary, he gives Vivian complete freedom to do whatever she wants in the room. And Edward himself focuses entirely on his work. Hours of peaceful coexistence completely put Vivian at ease. Late at night, ignoring Edward, who is still working, Vivian falls asleep by herself. When she wakes up, it's already the next morning. Without the exaggerated makeup, she appears in Edward's sight with a completely different charm. After spending the night in the same room, Vivian becomes less reserved and casually asks Edward what exactly his job is. Edward explains he buys companies in financial difficulty. When Vivian asks if he gets them for a bargain, he reveals the company he's buying this week costs about $1 billion.
So what do you do?
I buy companies.
What kind of companies?
I buy companies that are in financial difficulty.
If they have problems, you must get them for a bargain, huh?
Well, the company I'm buying this week, I'm getting with a bargain price of about $1 billion.
Hearing such an astronomical number, Vivian feels it's almost unreal. Before leaving after breakfast, Vivian thoughtfully helps Edward adjust his tie. At the same time, Edward receives a call from his assistant, Philip. The client wants to invite him to dinner that night. To ensure the meeting would go more smoothly, Philip suggests Edward bring a female companion. Looking at Vivian, Edward falls into deep thought. After the call ends, he approaches her with a business proposition. He wants to hire her as an employee, to be at his beck and call. Though Vivian is eager for this job, her remaining sense of reason makes her ask why he chose her. Edward's explanation that he wants a professional makes Vivian reluctantly accept it.
Vivian, I have a business proposition for you.
What do you want?
I'm going to be in town until Sunday. I'd like you to spend the week with me.
They discuss reaching an agreement on the work payment. Having learned he's a super rich man, Vivian no longer quotes a conservative number, but instead asks for what to her is an astronomical figure. Just like yesterday, Edward agrees readily. As the partner of a super rich man, of course she needs to be dressed in expensive outfits. Before going out to handle business, Edward leaves her a sum of money to dress herself up. After calling Kit to report her safety, Vivian goes to a branded clothing store. The moment she enters, she immediately attracts attention, but none of the shop assistants are willing to serve her. Soon, Vivian picks out a dress, but the clerk impatiently says they don't have anything for her and tells her to leave. The clerk's contemptuous gaze shows no restraint, instantly igniting Vivian's inner inferiority. Without Edward by her side, Vivian, dressed in flashy clothes, is stopped by the lobby manager, Barney. After confirming that Vivian is Edward's guest, Barney calls her into the office. Perhaps feeling provoked, Vivian almost loses control and loudly confesses the truth: her identity, the deal she made with Edward, the reason she was out, and how she was looked down upon by the clerk. After hearing everything, Barney believes her. He calls a clothing store that has a close partnership with the hotel, asking someone to help Vivian pick out clothes. Before nightfall, Barney also specially teaches Vivian some essential etiquette for business occasions. Finally, when the appointed time arrives, Vivian looks completely transformed. Seeing her, Edward is initially hesitant to recognize her until that stunning face appears before his eyes. Afterward, Edward takes Vivian to meet his client, Morse, and his grandson, David. At the dinner table, Vivian sees for the first time Edward's authoritative side. After a half-hour negotiation, Morse and David leave the table angrily. Perhaps knowing Vivian would only be a passerby in his life, or perhaps because he's long been without someone to confide in, Edward unusually opens up. When he was very young, his father abandoned him and his mother. After achieving success, the first thing he did was acquire his father's company and dismantle it. They became enemies until last month when he received news of his father's death. Seeing Morse and David united reminded him of his father. As a listener, Vivian wisely says nothing. A night of heart-to-heart conversation silently plants a seed called affection in their hearts. The next morning, Edward asks why she only bought one outfit with the unlimited credit card. She explains they were mean to her. After hearing the whole story, Edward immediately cancels the morning's meeting and accompanies Vivian to the city's most upscale clothing store. Realizing they're facing a big client, the manager immediately gathers all the store staff. They put down whatever they're doing and rush to serve Vivian. Throughout the entire morning, Vivian is wrapped in the enthusiasm of store clerks. She ends up buying nearly a week's worth of the store's sales. When she passes by the store that once threw her out, she tells them, "Big mistake. Big. Huge." In the following days, with no more banquets to attend, they spend almost the entire day in the hotel. As they spend more time together, they get to know each other more deeply, and subtle changes take place in their relationship. Soon, the one-week deadline arrives. Vivian is taken to a large-scale business conference where she meets many successful people. Philip, having finished his business, sees several single successful men attracted to Vivian. He becomes curious about her true identity. To reassure Philip, Edward tells him Vivian's real identity and how they met. Seizing an opportunity when Vivian is alone, Philip follows her and suggests they get together sometime after Edward leaves. Philip's words are like sharp blades, mercilessly tearing apart the confidence Vivian has built up. Her princess dream is shattered in an instant.
Don't worry, your secret is safe with me. Listen, maybe you and I could get together sometime after Edward leaves.
On the way back, she remains silent and prepares to pack her things. Edward guesses the reason and chases after her to explain he only revealed the truth to stop his assistant from becoming suspicious. But Edward's words still can't stop Vivian from leaving. Edward takes out the agreed $3,000, but Vivian only glances at the money and doesn't take it. While Vivian is waiting for the elevator, Edward opens the door. Vivian didn't take the money because she didn't want to put a transactional label on the time they spent together. Understanding the meaning behind her gesture, Edward comes out to try to stop her. After hesitating, Vivian chooses to forgive Edward. Though they never explicitly mention canceling the employment arrangement, both silently acknowledge each other as lovers. In the days that followed, Edward no longer has any events to attend. Dressed in an expensive gown and wearing a valuable necklace, Vivian experiences her first ride on a private jet. They go to the world's most prestigious theater to watch a play and dine at ultra-high-end restaurants. Finally, as the acquisition reaches its final stage, they have to start facing the inevitable parting. Vivian wants a status that would allow her to live by his side without anyone daring to gossip. But before Edward can think about this, Philip calls. The acquisition is complete. Before leaving, Edward speaks earnestly, saying this is all he's capable of right now. Vivian says she completely understands. During the meeting, Edward paces back and forth and finally makes a decision. What was originally a full acquisition becomes a capital injection partnership. Walking out of the building, Edward doesn't get into the car. Having resolved work issues, the next thing he has to face is his relationship with Vivian. On the other side, Philip comes to the hotel. Inside the room, there's no one but Vivian. Philip begins to harass her, accusing her of being the reason Edward suddenly changed his plans. At the critical moment, Edward appears and knocks Philip to the ground with 2 punches. After Philip leaves, they sit on the steps to talk. Vivian knows there will be no shortage of people like Philip around Edward. The gap between their identities and social status is clearly not something that can be crossed so easily. Sensing Vivian's determination, Edward no longer tries to persuade her to stay. He first hands over a sum of money and then takes out a business card. This time, Vivian does not reject his kindness. At the door, Edward makes one last request for Vivian to stay one more night. She can't. The pain of parting is long and bitter. The next morning, as Edward finishes packing, he asks the hotel manager to return the expensive necklace after his departure. He gets into the car, heading for the airport. Looking at the car window, Edward thinks of the cash Vivian had left behind the first time they argued. Leaving behind such beautiful jewelry, Vivian must have made a huge decision. He tells the driver to pull over, buys a bouquet of flowers, and then sets off toward Vivian's home. Just as Vivian is stepping out to attend a job interview, she hears someone calling her from outside. Edward has changed his direction for Vivian, proving the strength of his determination. The two finally move toward each other and embrace a beautiful ending. Vivian, from someone living at the bottom of society to falling in love with super-rich Edward, walked a path full of thorns. From being looked down upon by clothing store clerks to being humiliated by Edward's assistant, the gap of class stood like an unbridgeable chasm. But Edward was willing to set aside his acquisition plans and devote himself entirely to being with her, while Vivian also bravely faced her past and stayed true to her heart. Their love crossed the barriers of the mundane world, proving the power of sincerity. This tells us that love is not about where you come from, as long as both sides understand and firmly protect each other, no matter how